So when Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, min kulli shay'in sababa, I personally believe that, and I believe because it makes a lot more sense in all of the contexts of Judaic, Zulkarnainic, in the historic, in the futuristic, Dajjalic. In every little context, this word makes the biggest difference.
Yeah.
It changes the ball game from blacks to super ivory whites. This is how big of a difference. You're not going to be able to understand anything we're going to say if you do not put focus on this word.
Yeah.
And it took us, what, 20 episodes or 15? I don't know what episode we're doing right now to come to this word. So make sure I'm not going to just wing it and just casually just pass by it. Sababa is a certain word. And we know, and I'm going to tell you why I believe it. It's not just my opinion, because the Tabi'i, if you read Zaid bin Aslam's commentary, he's a Tabi'i, he's read this word directly from the Sahaba. He says that all the Sahaba used to use this word sababa as the pathways, which is in the next ayah. Pathways towards heavens.
Now we'll move on to ayah number 83. Mustafa Khattab translates it. They ask you, O Prophet, about Zulkarnain. Say, I will relate to you something of his narrative. Surely we established him in the land and gave him the means to all the things. Means to all the things.
Yeah, see, now we're going to have to come right on the top of the surah where the whole, context of this whole surah is the very question. This is the question through which this whole surah is, comes to life, actually. And this is why we covered in the first chapter of the series that these are the Jews which Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, "Yasalunaka." These are the people who are asking you about who Zulkarnain is and what was the story of Zulkarnain. Now, this is a very important story, and this is where we need to really, really understand how careful we have to be in terms of what the Jews were all about, what was going on, and we should understand the whole motif of the whole Judaic prophecies and their current world view, and actually not just current world view. They haven't changed their world view. This is their classic rabbi that's still talking about it. Actually, yesterday, their top rabbi actually claimed to have been speaking with the Messiah, which is and specifically talking about Gog and Magog.
Wow.
This is something which I which we better
what did
understand.
he exactly say?
Well, he specifically there's an article in Israel Today. It's not it's a tabloid. It's in Israel Today, and where he's actually talking about how the time of Messiah is just about there. It is going to be in our generation, and so on and so forth. And I didn't really get to read all of it because I just skimmed through it. I'm going to actually go through the context in this video about what Jews are all about. But they're all about the whole story of Zulkarnain, and I'll tell you why that matters. Because if you look at what the Jews were up to at the time of the Prophet actually way before the time, they actually settled in Medina for a reason, and that was the city where they were actually waiting for the Messiah. And this was not a small matter for the local Arabs at that time, because Jews were the only monotheistic religion at that time. Arabs were pagans.
Yeah,
these guys had a motive of settling in Medina. Why didn't they choose Mecca?
Yeah,
or what was so special that Salman Farsi was actually chasing the. If you read the story of Salman Farsi, he also ends up in
Medina.
In Medina, even though he was sold off to a caravan.
Yeah.
But he was told by those priests that this is the right time for the Prophet. And so much so that they pinpointed the accuracy of what kind of city he's going to travel from and he's going to land into. And then what was going to be his name, literally the name. The priest actually told him the name. And Talha was asked by Usman radiallahu anhu that there's this sound I hear from the air, that Muhammad is here.
Wow.
And Allah says, let's see what was this all about, because I actually heard it from the priest that the time of Muhammad is here. Do you know who Muhammad is? And Allah says, no, I don't know who Muhammad is, because they all knew Prophet as Ahmad. So this was something which is so amazing when you look at the fact that these Judaic and Christian books were somehow pinpointing all of that time. Now, in the current Bibles, we don't know what the time is. How did they run those numbers?
Yeah.
Not just the numbers, the geography. Why were the Jews? What were the Jews doing in Medina? And what's that got to do with since the Prophet did not turn out to be their Messiah, then why did they ask for the story of Zulkarnain? Because if the Prophet didn't narrate the story, this is the story of Zulkarnain coming up right now.
Yeah.
Then what's the whole big deal about not giving bayah and following the Prophet? So the Quran says, they recognize you as the father recognizes his son. They just, they're too arrogant to actually accept that, the Messiah in their books didn't come from their lineage and their tribes. So it's such an amazing thing to understand what Zulkarnain is all about, from the lens of those rabbis as well, in which we are going to cover now, because somehow there's a confusion here in the Ummah. And the confusion is that when this says, this ayah says, Inna makkanna lahu fil ardi wa atayna min kulli shay'in sababa. This word is repeated in this ayah and the next ayah, fa'atba'u sababa.
Yeah.
Somehow the two words have different meanings. If you read any translation of the world, you'll find out that this word is repeated with absolutely no change in connotations. So if you ask the local Arabs, they too are making that translation or what's the word comprehension out of this.
Yeah.
Why? I mean, this is so clear that we have given him
means to everything.
Makanna lahu fil ard. That means this ard word is not this planet. This is a meaning which we can take, that is planet, or we can take ard, because if you look at, I was watching this Cassini mission the other day, when they actually went and went to the moons of Saturn and on the land of Saturn. That was the last known image, because it just blew up in the atmosphere of Saturn. The fact that when you look at the moon or these moons or all of those places, if I just show you a picture of all of those lands, no one in the world can actually tell the difference between our land and their land, or that land.
Wow.
Those are the same rock formations. Those are the same sort of sand, clay. Obviously, the atmosphere is different. And the very fact that we have to call it land signifies that, this is a basic psychology of the Quran as well. I'm not just referring to Surah Talaq.
Yeah.
The very fact that they are the whole terrestrial entity in the universe is called Al-Ard.
Okay, so I think we should make this point very clear that whenever in the Quran the word Al-Ard is used, it means land.
Yeah, it means
which
land.
Can be this earth or any other earth.
Yeah, the context is
probably in the context.
Yeah.
But is there any specific word for this world in the Quran? What's that?
Dunya.
Ad-dunya.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. So ad-dunya refers exactly to where we are living, but al-ard can refer to anywhere, depending on the context.
Yeah. Well, in Surah Al-Baqarah, رَبَّنَا آتِنَا فِي الدُّنْيَا حَسَنَةً وَفِي الْآخِرَةِ حَسَنَةً وَقِنَا عَذَابَ النَّارِ. In Surah Al-Mulk, مُزَيِّنَ السَّمَاءَ الدُّنْيا.
Wow.
This is the sky of this planet that we've adorned with lamps.
With lamps, yeah.
Yeah. This is such an amazing Surah Al-Mulk is such an amazing way of actually understanding that if it was Sama al-Ard, Sama al-Ard, then it would have locked and sealed the deal.
Yeah.
Yeah. But since we know that the last heaven is going to be scrolled, that means
exactly.
Yeah. And this also signifies that the way we look at Saturn and Jupiter and all of those planets, it is not upon us to decide whether the horizontal linear way of looking at this sky, in which there is Andromeda and all of the other galaxies and all the stars that we see. We assume that if we're going to go to Saturn, which of course they did, and they did take a picture of the Earth from Saturn, it does look like a star. So it is a natural assumption that we share the same heaven, the first heaven, with Saturn and Jupiter and whoever we see. Even though if you look carefully at this ayah, Muzayyana Sama Dunya, this, if we couple that with Rabbana Atina Fid Dunya Hasana Fil Akhirati Hasana, it clearly shows two different meanings. One is the fact that these heavens could be also vertically aligned as well. And we could be in a different heaven than the heaven of Saturn or any other planet. Because the word dunya specifically means, the life on this planet. Or it could also mean, and the second meaning would be that, it is the same sky that we actually enjoy with whatever we can see, because the lamp itself, signifies there's a lock. The ceiling is set, that, this is, because in Surah Anbiya, ayah 104 verse, when Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, we're going to scroll up the last heaven, the first heaven. That means the things that we see, that's the meaning that we take. That's the thing that we see, because we connect it with Surah Mulk right there. And, whatever the stars that we're going to see, they're going to be scrolled up, which makes sense, because it's in Hadith as well. Because in the Quran, the stars are going to fall down. And this is a lot of misconception that a lot of apologetic Muslims or people, atheists say that your Quran says that stars are going to fall on the ground. Even the stars are real. Stars are going to fall on the ground is a problem if you do not take al-ard's meaning as all the terrestrial planes. And if you start putting this word al-ard on this planet Earth, then yes, it is a problem. I don't know how the apologetics are answering it. And the stars are going to fall down on the ground. How do you actually comprehend this? How do you fit all the stars falling on the ground? Stars are going to fall on the ground, because whenever the star is going to blow up, it is going to convert into a ground. And this is what a black hole also is.
When a star collapses, it becomes a black hole.
Or blows up, right? So
when it blows up, that's called a supernova. So supernova
converts what into what?
Black hole.
Different planets as well.
It gives away
debris.
Debris.
That's rocks.
Okay.
So it's all al-ard. See, star is also al-ard. You have to understand that. It's al-ard in the making. Because there's only two things. Sama and ard. Anything which is not sama is ard. You know what I'm saying? So there's a matter which we see, it's matter which is al-ard, and then there's sama, which could be dark energy or dark matter or whatever, because it's not just space. We know that, and through the hadith we know that too. So I'm not going to that level of complication right now, because it is up for debate all the time, but it is very clearly identifiable that the al-ard meaning is all the rocks that you can possibly see in these heavenly skies. And yes, there is a discussion that the stars are only in the first heaven. But there is never a word which says the earth is also on just in first heaven. So there could be a totally different ways of whatever the life is going about in other heavens on the planets, because Jannah is also a plane. We know rivers, and we know grass, and we know the greenery, and we know the Jahannam's structure as well. That's also rocks. And fields and meadows and everything. So it's also al-ard. So when we say that there's this concept that this planet is al-ard, then we create a very big quagmire of confusion. We have to really understand, because it is going to matter a lot in Surah Kahf. And this is why when the Hadith in Tabari says the semen of Adam alayhi salam fell on al-ard and it
Yeah.
reacted.
Yeah.
And, Yajuj and Majuj came about.
Yeah.
So that is a totally different ard. You
Yeah.
throw semen on this planet, only plant semen actually grows, which is,
Yeah.
which is soil very fertile for.
Yeah.
So how come this soil actually creates plants' life?
Yeah.
Yeah. That means there is a certain planet which creates human life.
Yeah. Human life or other
creatures. Yeah. Because in Jannah we know that human beings will be growing like plants.
Yeah.
People. So that is the land. We know through Hadith that when the Jannim are going to come, they're going to come through this. They're going to grow into plants, plants-like growth. That means Adam alayhi salam's sons, Yajuj, Majuj, grew like that, and we can clearly see that in the Hadith.
Yeah.
But somehow we just spin around. We just don't want to talk about this.
Yeah.
Even though the Hadith is very clear about how people are going to grow like plants. That's exactly what Tabri Hadith is saying, that Adam semen fell in there, and they, Yajuj, Majuj grew like plants.
Yeah.
Because when semen goes into earth, if the earth has the capability, people are going to grow like plants.
Yeah.
So this is a simple way of actually looking at it. It's such a complicated thing that we just created, that Yajuj Majuj came from Hawa. They literally are saying that. Or some woman gave birth to Yajuj Majuj. This is a psychological construction of our own.
Yeah.
Even though the Hadith is saying there is no woman involved in this.
Yeah.
This is an earth of some sorts, and we also know through Surah.
If we know anything, we just know that from Adam and Hawa alayhi salam, Habil and Kabil, and those guys were born.
Well, that's the first lineage, right?
Yeah.
The firstborn, actually, literally.
Yeah.
But that's something which happened on this planet, because that happened after he came here.
Yeah.
Or when
so
he
to assume an entirely different kind of creation came about from the same bloodline is anyways difficult to understand.
Yeah, well, naturally it's going to be difficult, but how do we put our heads around the concept that human beings are going to grow like plants in the garden, right outside the garden of Jannah?
Yeah.
How do we actually settle this psychology?
Yeah.
Because it's Jannah. Then where Adam was not created on this planet.
Yeah.
Why are we putting every concept of earth when it comes down to
Do you remember there's this hadith which says that maybe someone here might remember the hadith which says that human beings will be when they will come out from their graves, they will actually be growing from the coccyx, the tailbone.
Tailbone. The tailbone. Yeah. See, there's a lot of
long hadith which states that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will shower rain on this earth.
Yeah, yes.
For a certain amount of time, I don't know, 1 month, 2 months, after, or even 40 years, but I don't really remember. And after that, the human will grow from their tailbone, just like plants grow from the seeds.
Yeah. Even in this hadith, the words have been used like this, like the way plants grow from the seeds.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah, subhanallah.
Yeah, so that's settled.
There are too many, there are really clear, bigger things that we've just been suppressing.
Yeah,
we're
just not looking at it by design.
Yeah.
By design.
Yeah.
And I can understand why the 1200-year-old, not 1400, but 1200-year-old scholars would do that, because people people might not be ready for this.
Yeah.
But now we are, because we have a lot more comprehension of the bigger concepts.
Yeah.
So coming back to this very concept, when Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says Adam alayhi salam was created by clay or earth, there's a certain word for that. That word is ham.
Yeah.
This is not that's a totally different sort of word. Ham. Make sure you remember that, because it's coming up in this surah.
Yeah.
Okay. And that's it's in Surah Hijr. If you open Surah Hijr, you'll find out this very clear word, ham.
Mm-hmm.
That's a black clay. Even the current translation is black clay for that ham. That's a totally different kind of clay. And that clay has a totally different kind of property. This clay does not have that kind of property. So we were not created from this dust. We were created from ham. This is turab.
Yeah.
So you have to understand there's a totally different psychology we need to incorporate to understand a way bigger perspective of what this was about to unfold right now.
Yeah.
So this word, make sure you remember this word ham, the ha mim ham, and Surah Hijr is clearly talking about this. Actually, in this very surah, the word is used I think 2 or maybe 3 times.
Yeah.
So it's about to come up. So the world all has the psychology. We better understand that psychology. Jews have a history. We better understand that history. And Jews wanted a Messiah who can have that sort of power. We better understand. That's why they said Zulkarnain.
Yeah.
Okay. And this is something which is why we're talking about this. Since we covered that in the first chapter of this video series, of what the Jews' history was, did we?
Yeah, we did.
So let's just use that, and we're going to talk a lot about the Jews now, because this all of this motive is about Dajjal. So
so there was actually a point that you had to make.
Yeah, I'm coming to
the
that.
word is sababa used in ayah number 84.
84, yeah. Let's just
ayah number 85 also says sababa. The translation,
I'm
even
coming
by
to
the
that
same people, have been done differently.
Yeah, exactly. وَآتَيْنَهُ مِنْ كُلِّ شَيْءٍ سَبَبًا. That does not really mean anything in the translation, because when you read it, what's the translation you read? I have a totally different translation.
Let me tell you what Mustafa Khattab, how he translates in both ayahs differently. So in first ayah, when he says, surely we established him in the land and gave him the means to all the things, which says min kulli shay'in sababa. And then the next ayah.
So the word that he's using is means here.
Yeah,
because kulli shay'in is for everything. Okay.
Yeah. And in ayah number 85, when it says fa'atba'a sababa, same person, Mustafa Khattab says, so he traveled a course.
So the word means turned into course.
All 4 translators that I have here, they have translated this sababa in ayah number 85 as a course or a road, certain road.
Yeah, but if you go into the previous ayah, if you can tell us,
all 4 have said means.
Yeah, and that really does not mean anything, because what does that mean? Means to what does that mean?
Yeah.
So if I say anybody in English, you have means to everything. What does that mean? That you can say kun to that thing and it's going to convert anything? Because that's the psychology I get when I say I have means to everything. That means I can shape anything into anything.
Yeah.
Or call anything to me. Or go towards anything.
Yeah, you have unlimited power to do anything.
So it means to anything.
Everything.
And so that means it doesn't really mean any specific, it does not draw a picture in my mind.
Yeah.
So they put a very Barnum word here. Yeah. It's a very general, abstract Barnum statement. Even if they're right, let's just assume it is right, then how come the next ayah itself is contradicted by this very word?
Yeah.
Because to means is not atba'u.
Yeah.
You cannot use this phrase if the word does not mean a way, a track, or a passage, or a path.
Yeah.
Because fa'atba'u means you have to follow that track. You're on the journey, on the course, which is rightly translated in every translation. So when Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says min kulli shay'in sababa, I personally believe that. And I believe, because it makes a lot more sense in all of the contexts of Judaic, Zulkarnainic, and historic, and futuristic, Dajjalic. In every little context, this word makes the biggest difference.
Yeah.
It changes the ball game from blacks to super ivory whites. This is how big of a difference. You're not going to be able to understand anything we're going to say if you do not put focus on this word.
Yeah.
And it took us, 20 episodes or 15? I don't know what episode we're doing right now to come to this word. So make sure, I'm not going to just wing it and just casually just pass by it. Sababa is a certain word. And we know, and I'm going to tell you why I believe it. It's not just my opinion, because the Tabi'i, if you read Zaid bin Aslam's commentary, he's a Tabi'i, he's read this word directly from the Sahaba. He says that all the Sahaba used to use this word sababa as the pathways, which is in the next ayah. Pathways towards heavens.
Yeah. And the reference of this statement is in what book? Tabari?
I don't remember, but we'll paste it in the reference.
I have it written in my notes.
Okay, good enough.
Yeah.
I don't remember the name of the book. I don't want to misquote it, because it's so easy to pick it up. You can just look it up what Zaid bin Aslam rahmullah says about what the Sahaba's direct psychology was about sababa.
Yeah.
Now, we're going to talk a lot about this in the next journey of Zulkarnain. So, but the real focus has to be on the crisp meaning of sababa. Now, why am I taking this meaning? Just because Zayd bin Aslam said that should have been enough, but that could be a fabricated, daif commentary of Zayd bin Aslam. It's okay, we understand that, but the Quran itself used this very word in 9 different occasions, other than Surah Kahf.
That's the most important.
Quran itself uses Surah Kahf, which we're going to paste in the details of this video. 9 different Surah Swad, Surah Hajj, Surah Ghafir, and many other. All of those 9 occasions, the word sab, which is the root word of this, means ways to the heavens. Somehow, when we use this word in this surah in 2 different times, we use the one time as the rest of the 9 times, but the one time which matters the most, it matters the most.
In ayah number
we
84,
just somehow put it into means to everything or power over everything, and so on and so forth. And in Urdu, which we have a very big problem, especially for people in India, Pakistan, and wherever Urdu is spoken or understood, and there's so much literature. After Arabic, Urdu is the first language of Islamic literature after Arabic. So the problem in Urdu is, and I'm sure that's in Farsi, I didn't look it up, but you should look it up, that the word asbab in Urdu has a totally different psychology. It does not at all. No Urdu man can say asbab and his brain will be like putting a ladder going up to the heavens. It's not possible. And that's a problem that we're all suffering from. Because every Urdu translation you're going to read, you're going to find the word asbab there.
But can it be like there are a lot of Urdu words which actually come from Arabic words, but then one of the meanings does exist in Arabic dictionary for those words which we take in Urdu?
Yeah,
so is it possible that one of the meanings for the word sab or sababa is means also?
Not sababa. Asbab. Sababa does not have any other meaning.
Asbab is in Urdu.
Yeah.
In Arabic.
Asbab is an Arabic word in which Quran he also uses the word asbab.
Oh wow!
Okay, and when
so we took
asbab,
this word directly as it is.
When the Quran uses the word asbab in different ayahs, surahs, it also uses for the ways to the planets, to the heavens. Yeah.
Okay, that's very interesting.
That's interesting. That's why I'm saying the Urdu man can never, ever, he does not have the power to construct a picture of ladder going towards heavens. The most famous ladder of Jacob in the Bible, in Genesis? When Yaqub al-Islam dreamt that there's a ladder going towards the heavens and angels are coming down from that ladder. That's the most famous thing about the Bible. When they talk about the ways to the heavens, they don't use the word asbab because that's English. I should look it up, the Hebrew version, and you'll find out that the similar kind of word is used for the dream of Jacob, Yaqub al-Islam, that he dreamt that there's a ladder going to the heavens and he's going to climb up and angels are coming up and down on that ladder. So since I was a child when I read that, so whenever I see Zulkarnain, I'm thinking of, those ways going up to the heavens and, so on and so forth. However, coming back to this, it is not an impossibility that we're discussing here. It is going to make way more sense to understand what Dajjal can and should be doing. And as a Muslim, we already know that there are ways to heavens. Surah Ma'arij says that.
Yeah.
We already know that. We know that that's a physical way. We discussed about this. So why do we have to be so stringent in not going that way? Even though the Quran says that, Sahaba say that, it's all right, we understand that. But why are we so stringent here that we're not going to take that meaning? That's the case they have to prove.
Exactly.
We don't have to prove this case because the Quran, and we're backing up this very root word and this very word by the Quran and the Sahabas. If someone else is taking this word in a totally different meaning, then they better prove it as to why they're actually taking it, and they better corroborate that from the testimonies of the Sahaba at the least, nobody else matters now.
Yeah.
Because this is an argument which is, we have the Sahabis on our bench. They better put a few Sahabis on their bench to just try and talk about this. Otherwise, all of the translations of the Quran right now, currently, better make that change and bring it back to the original psychology of the Sahabis.
I would want to make a point here, like even if you read Tafsir ibn Kasir or either other tafsir of the ayat which talk about the astronomy or cosmology or planets and stars and things like these, you will always see that there are a lot of this kind of stuff about which we do not find any hadith, clear hadith. So the Mufassirun, they have used the knowledge of their times to trying to explain those realities, and there are too many of those ayat in the Quran which are left open for the interpretation for the people to come. So I'll reiterate Sahil's point that this is also a question to the scholars also, that what stops us from taking a different meaning to the things which have been left open for interpretation, like which don't even have anything to do with our basic aqidah or the ibadat.